Third time's the charm here. All right. Hi, guys, and welcome. Today, I'm going to be talking to you about ROI, which is honestly the only number that any of your clients care about, even more than price. ROI means return on investment. And in today's video, I'm going to teach you about what ROI is, why it matters, how to calculate it, and more importantly, how to improve it. I get asked about ROI 24/7 by potential clients and my current clients because they really want to know, A, do I even know what that is? B, have I actually looked into it to see if my clients are actually getting something from the services that I'm offering? And C, have I looked into improving it and acted on those things that I've found? Now, before we get into it, because today I'm going to try and keep it short, sweet, and to the point, let me first introduce myself for those of you that are new or haven't tuned in for a while. My name is Rayla, and I am the host of Ditching the 9 to 5, a fun, safe, and engaging place for you to get your shit together, ditch the 9 to 5, and live the life that you want to live. Now, I've been on a hiatus for a little bit because I have finally moved to Italy. For those of you that have been watching for a while, you know that for a long time I was saying, I'm moving to Italy, I'm moving to Italy. I don't know when, but I'm moving to Italy, and now I'm finally here. And if you can kind of tell from my background, more or less, the military lost all of our furniture. But it's okay, because they found it. But it's not going to be here until next year. So, your girl is coming to you live from a very empty office in a patio chair. Yeah. So if that doesn't lead you into why there's been a bit of a hiatus, I don't really know what will. But I've also been just settling into my new house, getting my dogs acclimated, trying to set everything up. So, yeah. But I will be posting a brand new streaming schedule with my brand new time zone on Monday. I will let you guys know when the new weekly live lessons are going to be in this group, as well as TikTok, Instagram, Discord, and Twitch. Whew, I know, it's going to be a lot. But the main reason why it's taken me so long to make a new streaming schedule is because I'm on a completely new time zone. So speaking of which, if you're tuning in now or on the replay, hashtag replay below, remember, let me know what time it is for you as you're tuning in. For me, as I'm doing this right now, it is 2:17 p.m. on Friday, November 4th. Now, I love seeing what time it is for all of you guys because we have people from quite literally all over the world here. So, now that we're done with that, let's get into ROI. ROI means return on investment. So exactly what is your client getting out of their investment with you? Now, of course, you can get into your copywriter mode and tell them, well, they're saving time, they're saving energy, they're getting more time with their family, they're gaining memories, they're gaining sanity, they're gaining all of these things, which is great, amazing, honestly. But hard numbers speak louder. Hard numbers are always going to speak louder. And it's a really great way for you to stand out from your competition. Let's face it, there are tons and tons and tons of virtual assistants out there. In fact, there's over 6,000 of them in this Facebook group right now. Now, the thing is there's a lot of things that you can say to bring yourself up, right? It's all in the way that you approach people. It's in the reviews that you have. It's in the way that you present yourself. But at the end of the day, sometimes you and the other people that are vying for that same exact position all link up. And an ROI is one way that you can for sure stand out above the crowd. Not only because you actually know what it is, but also because it is so great. The thing is that things like reviews are something that a lot of people brag about. I mean, I brag about. Me and my team brag about all the time. We always say we're 5-star reviewed. We've never been anything less. And that's definitely something to be proud of, right? But there's a lot of virtual assistants that are 5-star reviewed. By saying that your ROI is something like, I don't know, 100%, then that's a little bit more. It's a little bit more spice, a little bit more flavor, okay? So we want to know what it is. ROI is extremely simple to calculate. I know it's going to seem a little bit like, Rayla, why am I back in math class? But I promise, it's easy. So, this is how you calculate ROI. it's amount gained minus the amount spent divided by the amount spent times 100. So basically net divided by the amount spent times 100, so we get a percentage. Now technically ROI can be talked about as a ratio, or it can be talked about as a percentage. If you're going to talk about it as a ratio, then don't multiply by 100, okay? If you're going to be talking about it as a percentage, then multiply by 100. And I can tell you right now that most people are going to ask for it in percentages because that's just the norm of what you talk about, right? Okay, so the next thing that's probably running through your head is, Rayla, I don't necessarily know if what I'm doing has led to more sales, or I haven't gotten them to answer me back, or maybe you're just one piece in a huge machine that leads to sales, which is what most virtual assistants are. Or maybe you do a service that isn't necessarily generally related to sales. Maybe you do admin services, right? Still extremely important. Still something that brings a return on investment, but not necessarily sales. So we're going to calculate ROI in two different ways. A return on investment in terms of time and a return on investment in terms of actual sales, both of which give you completely different numbers, but it depends on what you do and the numbers that you have available as to which one you're going to calculate. I like to calculate both, so that's what we're going to do. So first things first, let's look at time. Let's say that your client that you're actually working with now, okay, when you first started talking, they said that what they're doing every single day, every single week, every single month, all these tasks that they're going to be sending to you normally take them 10 hours a week, okay? So by outsourcing it to you, they've gained that 10 hours a week. So the amount gained is 10 minus the amount spent. Now let's be real. Most clients, actually, I'm not going to say all because I don't really know all things, but 99.99999% of clients still have to spend some time on these tasks, whether it's approving it, in meetings with you, just talking with you, answering your questions, training you, whatever it is, they got to spend some time. So let's say that this particular client spends 1 hour a week in a big long meeting with you to hash everything out, to approve everything, all that jazz, right? So the amount spent is 1. So we've got 10 minus 1 divided by the amount spent, 1, which essentially just means it's the same thing. So 10 minus 1 divided by 1 gives us 9. Again, I know we're not back in math class, but we need this number, I promise. 9 times 100, right? 900. You now have a 900% ROI. That is fantastic. Amazing ROI. Now, one thing that ran through my head, at least the first time that I ever calculated ROI in terms of time, is how on earth could you have a bad ROI? Well, the best way for you to have a bad ROI is if you consistently make a ton of mistakes. If you consistently have to redo things, you consistently have to ask your client every single minute for approval, then your ROI goes down because that means that they have to spend more time. So let's try and calculate a different ROI based on a micromanaging client, because that's going to be the most common, right? So the amount gained is still 10, but let's say that this client really micromanages. So they want 3 meetings a week. Each one is going to be an hour. So that's 3 hours, right? Now, in addition to that, they ask for you to check in every single day, twice a day, when you first log on and afterwards. During that time, they spend another about an hour talking to you, approving everything. So you got 5, 6, 7, 8 hours that they are now spending talking to you, approving everything, making sure that everything's good. So they went from spending 10 hours to spending 8 hours. We still divide by 1, but math says that that's basically not really even a thing. So 10 minus 8 is 2 times 100. So we have a 200% ROI. It's still positive, right? But not by much. Not by much at all, actually. They've really only saved 2 hours of their time per week by hiring you. Is it your fault? Not necessarily. They're micromanaging you. So these are the two different ways that we can calculate ROI based on time. Now, like I said, when it comes to ROI, a lot of people want to know sales. But if you're doing something like admin, having an ROI based on time is still really, really good. Or if you're doing really any kind of service that requires a regular meeting or regular time spent by your client, you are going to want to include an ROI based on time. Now, let's go ahead and do sales. Sales are always going to speak louder. But like I said, you might not necessarily know, A, exactly how many sales they're getting, and B, the change in sales. But let's say that you do. And if you don't, it's really easy to just ask your clients. And if they want to know, well, why do you need to know? All you have to do is tell them that you are calculating the current ROI so that you can make steps or take steps to improve it for them. Most clients will say, sure, absolutely. Okay, so let's go ahead and do sales. Let's say that by hiring you, they gained $1,000 in sales. We're just going to use easy numbers because it's easier to calculate, right? So let's say by hiring you, they gained $1,000 in sales. And I'm going to make this bigger so that all of us can see it. $1,000 in sales. Now, when hiring you, they spend $500 a month. So $500 a month are being spent, but they're gaining $1,000 in sales every month because you're on staff or since you've been on staff. Okay? Divided by the amount spent, 500. Now, I am not a math genius. So I am going to pull out my calculator. However, if you are a math genius, or if you're sitting there going, Rayla, you don't need to be a math genius in order to calculate this, good for you. All right, so we got 1,000 minus 500, which is 500. 500, so 1,000 minus 500, that's going to be, let me try and do this backwards. It's going to be 500. So 500 over 500 is, ratios, 1. 1 times 100 is 100. So your ROI is 100. Now, this is lower than before, right? Because we had a 900% ROI on time. This is still amazing ROI. In fact, if we Google it, let's just Google what a good ROI is. What is a good ROI? Because I'm pretty sure it's super duper duper low. Conventional wisdom of an annual ROI of 7% or greater is considered good. Okay, so let's say what's a good monthly ROI? Yep, 7%, 10% or more, 7% or more, 10% or more, 20% is considered very good. And these are coming from very trusted resources. So having an ROI for your client of 100% is fantastic. Amazing ROI. And something that you can brag about. Something that's better than just 5 stars. Something that not everybody has. And is a direct link to you. You personally, your work, what you can do for them, and what you can replicate. ROI. Now, let's say we aren't doing so great. We're doing okay. So the amount gained for the client, let's say they're gaining $500 per month. Their sales have gone up $500 a month since hiring you. But they still pay you $500 a month. Divided by 500. Right? Because we're still using this formula up here. Okay? 500 minus 500. Ladies and gents in the comments, anybody? 500 minus 500? I know you know it. is 0. Can't divide anything by 0. You just can't. Okay? So we got 0 times 100, which we also can't do. So what is our ROI? 0. Not great. So what does an ROI of 0 actually mean, though? An ROI of 0 means that your client is getting 0 return on their investment. They're not losing anything, but they're also not gaining anything by you being there. So what can that mean for a business owner? Well, your business owner is probably calculating ROI by themselves. And if they're not, and you're the first one to do it, this is a key indicator that you need to step up your game. Or you need to provide value in other ways. Because sometimes it's just not realistic for you to take on the responsibility of their sales. For example, let's say that you do their social media marketing, right? You do their social media, you pour everything into it. But you are not the only piece of the puzzle when it comes to sales. If they have a subpar product, it doesn't matter how great your social media is. It's a subpar product. If they have a great product, your social media is great, but their website doesn't work, how is anybody going to buy anything? Again, not your fault. Is the ROI going to go down? Yes. But is it really because of you? No, not really. So you really got to look at these numbers carefully. Of course, if the ROI is little to, in this case, nothing, or even negative, which is possible, then yeah, you really, really, really got to reconsider what you're doing and how much this is all actually costing you. Now, let's take a look at a negative ROI just to finalize all of this. So we're going to look at a negative ROI in time. We're going to look at a negative ROI in money. It's pretty hard to get a negative ROI, to be perfectly honest, unless you're just really costing them money, like a lot of money. Like, let's say that you are the cause of returns, okay? So, in fact, yes, let's say that. So let's say this month they lost $500. Lost. Yay, we lost money. Great. We lost $500, right? They pay you $500. Divided by, what's the word? $500. So, minus $500, negative $500, minus $500 is negative 1,000. Divided by 500. See what I'm doing? Okay. So, that is a negative 2 to 1 ratio times 100. So, it is a negative 200 ROI. And let me know if you're not following, okay? Negative 200 ROI, which means that they are losing. If your ROI is ever negative, that means that they are losing money by having you on. Again, it doesn't necessarily mean it's all because of you when it comes to sales, especially if you're not the only piece to the puzzle. Now, if you really are the only piece of the puzzle, if you're doing all of their marketing, you're doing their website, you're doing their sales, you set up everything that comes with their sales, yeah, it's your fault. But that's pretty rare. So, negative ROI, that's what that would look like. When it comes to time, for anybody that missed the time one, we'll do the time again. Time is the same thing, amount gained minus amount spent, divided by amount spent. If, let's say, all of the tasks that they used to do that you're now doing used to take them 10 hours a week or a month, okay? You are spending 11 hours a week doing it because of micromanaging, because you have to redo things, because you made mistakes, because fill in the blank, okay? You're spending 11 divided by 11. So 10 minus 11 is going to be negative 1 divided by 11. I actually don't know what 1 divided by 11 is. I imagine it's a very ugly number. It is. Okay. So we're going to do this all on a calculator, and you guys can follow me along on your own calculators. This is going to be great. So this is a negative 900% ROI. Pretty bad. Yeah. It's pretty awful, actually. It's technically 909% if you want to get technical. But either way, it's negative and it's by a lot. This means that they are technically gaining absolutely nothing by hiring you. Not only are they probably losing out on money, but they're also losing out on time because they're spending 11 hours. They're spending more time than they used to by hiring you because they used to spend 10 hours. Now they spend 11 because you're making mistakes and they have to micromanage you, or they feel like they have to micromanage you. Okay? So same formula, same thing, you get negative 900. Okay? Now that we know what ROI is, we know why it's important, and we know how to calculate it. Let's finish this off by figuring out how to increase it. How do we increase ROI? Well, you can look at this a lot of different ways, and it does depend on which ROI you're looking at, whether that's time or it's money. If it's time, the way that you can increase your ROI is by spending less time. Key here, though, we are talking about the time that they are spending. You can cause them to spend less time with you by A, being more efficient, and B, trying to cut down on micromanaging. If you can cut down on micromanaging, you can cut down on the time that they actually have to spend with you to get these things done, you can improve ROI. You can do this in lots of different ways. You can do this by cutting out meeting times. You can do this by sending looms instead of other things. You can do this by sending routine updates so that they don't have to jump on calls all the time. You can do this by having a very sound project management system where they can see everything that's going on and they can answer their own questions and not have to spend extra time pulling you into a meeting and asking what's going on and messaging you for the 15 billionth time, asking you, hey, where is this and where is this and what does this do and where can I find this and why hasn't this been done and where is this customer? No. If it's perfectly organized and they have been trained since Jump Street on where everything is and how to find everything, you can improve your ROI when it comes to time. And this is a great indicator that you are doing what you need to do. Okay? So that's how you're going to improve it when it comes to ROI based on time. And if you missed that discussion on how to calculate that, I promise I'm going to post this. You'll be able to rewind and calculate it for yourself. If you're trying to do ROI based on sales, like I said before, A, you need to take into account that you might not be the only piece to this puzzle. Like I said, when it comes to sales, it doesn't matter if you're the person that did the website, if you're the person that did the funnel, if you're the person doing the social media, if you're the person doing the graphics, if you're the person that is setting up their shop on Etsy, you're not the only piece. There's lots of pieces to the sale. A, it's when they first see them, the initial marketing, okay? Then they have to get to the website. How they get to the website is based on the social media, right? Once they get to the website has to be a good website. It has to be easy to navigate. They have to easily be able to find these things. And if you don't have a good website, yeah, you're probably going to lose the sale. If they find the thing, but they feel that the price is unfair, is that your fault? If you didn't make the price? No. But can it lead to less sales? Yes. Can it lead to a decrease in ROI? Yeah. After they find the price and they want to buy it, let's say the checkout doesn't work. Is that your fault if you didn't set it up? No. But does it lead to a decrease in ROI? Yeah, it does. And even after all this, if their customer service isn't great, that can also lead to a decrease in ROI if they have returns. So the ROI based on actual numbers isn't always an amazing indicator into what you're actually doing because it really depends on how involved you really are in the sales process. Now, if let's say you're doing social media, because a lot of people do social media, right? Let me know in the comments if you are a VA that does social media, okay? Raise your hand in the comments. Actually, you know what? I'm going to try and do a post. Do you offer social media as one of your services? Okay, we're going to do option A and option B, and we're going to save. Okay, so we have created a poll. We're going to activate it. I've never actually done a poll during live, so I'm kind of curious to see how this goes. So let me know with the poll, do you offer social media as one of your services? Because if you do, this is a bit easier for you. Because you can look at the sale increase from the time that you started their social media until afterwards. You can also look at a lot of different things, such as if they have a link in their bio. You can look at how many people are actually clicking the link from the time that you started up until the time that you're calculating. The increase in link clicks can lead to an increase in sales, which means that you are leading to the increase yourself, okay? If you are leading to an increase in clicks on their link in bio, but it doesn't generate sales, that's not social media's fault, that's the website's fault. You see what I mean? So you can still calculate an ROI, and you can still justify that you are doing what you're supposed to be doing. It's all in the analytics. It's all in how you're doing this, how you are getting this increase, getting the return on investment for people. Because at the end of the day, this is the only number that people care about. And I know that's really hard to kind of wrap your head around. Because most people think that, well, they only care about the price. No. People are willing to pay big money if it means that you will make them big money, or that you will save them big time. Either way, that's what they're looking at. They're looking for the ROI, they're looking for the return on investment. And you can bet your butt that they are going to ask, what is your ROI? Especially if you're working with already established businesses who either have hired virtual assistants in the past and it hasn't worked out, or have just realized that virtual assistants are even a thing. Businesses are constantly calculating ROIs for every single little thing that they invest in. Whether it's a service, it's a product, it's a consultant, it's anything. And you can bet that they're going to calculate an ROI for you. So you need to know what it is before they do. Now, that is all that I had for today. Now, if you guys have any questions, please make sure to leave them in the comments. I want to make sure that this live isn't too terribly long, even though we're almost at the 30-minute mark. But we had a lot to go over. So if you have any questions about ROI or anything else, be sure to leave them in the comments. I will come back and answer them for you. And you might want to check the comments to see if somebody else has asked a question that you need an answer to. And remember, if you have anything that you'd like to see another live lesson on or a video, please feel free to DM me or post it in the group, and it might just be next week's lesson. Like I said, be sure to stay tuned for the new live schedule based on the poll that we sent out and my new time zone. I will see you guys next time, and thank you so much for tuning in as I am back from my hiatus. And thank you for being a part of Ditching the 9 to 5 VA Learning.